Hey, and it's your boy Reggie, and I'm back at it again. So today we will be exposing the sad life of Dove Cameron. And if you guys do not know, we will be doing auto reaction. So Dove Cameron is an actress and stuff who was on Living Maddie. She's done a lot of work in Descendants, and she's just the actress that been around in Disney. But today we just noticed that she has never had any run-ins with the law. Like, where does she come from? So today we're gonna deep dive and thrive. So we're gonna talk about like what she did, Liv and Maddie. So we will be doing an audio reaction to Sloan's video. Sloan Dove Cameron.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one, to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to
So
enterprise-grade
y'all, as we getting
systems,
the live stream
everything is
ready, you
built
know
in
she was
and
on
ready to
Living
launch.
Maddie, and she's been through a
It's a
lot and
real
stuff in
world.
the industry, especially with abusive relationships.
Cry. I know the answer is lock myself in the closet.
Why are we locking ourselves in the closet?
Yeah.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
But because Dove had to find a way to escape her reality. So, Dove Cameron has a traumatic past, filled with death, toxic boyfriends, and a family that never cared. Ever since she was a kid, Dove experienced loss, whether it was her best friend at 9 years old, or her father at 15. She decided to dedicate herself to music and acting, not because she wanted to, but because Dove had to find a way to escape her reality. So, let's get into it.
Thanks for the sub.
Chloe Celeste Hosterman, also known as Dove Cameron, is a popular singer and actress who's had a pretty tragic life for only being 30 years old. She started acting at 8, and around that time, she experienced her first life-changing tragedy. Dove was raised in Washington, and at 2 years old, she says that she met her best friend named Haley. They instantly clicked, and they grew up together, going to each other's family homes and things like that. Well, it looks like Haley's parents went through a messy divorce, and at 9 years old, Dove learned that her best friend was actually murdered by her own father. Not Dove's father, but her friend's father, like, murdered her friend, which is so sad to think about, especially being 9 years old. Dove actually found out about the news of her friend's death because she picked up the phone, like a home phone, and her parents had answered the principal explaining that Haley and
She didn't.
her
Dove did
sister
not meet.
Kelsey were both gone.
Okay, so Dove did not meet the girl who she did the This Is Who I Am with on Disney Channel until she was a teenager. We're talking about a child. They're talking about her childhood friend.
Steve, their father, was gone as well. Dove says that they heard me express some sort of child noise, like a gasp, and then came in and we just didn't get out of bed for 2 days. which is really hard being 9 years old and to hear the news and just to lay in depression. Dove's parents tried to put her into therapy, but she says, I was very, very, very disturbed by knowing someone for all that time and being raised around them and then realizing that they're capable of doing something so harrowing. Dove says that this pretty much traumatized her brain and that she still has to process things in certain ways, saying that she still has issues.
So is therapy the goal to get there, or is therapy managing everything with the eventual hope that you'll get there?
Disturbed by knowing someone.
I think that therapy for me, because I'm in a specific, well, I'm not right now because I'm an idiot, but when I do take consistent therapy, it's always trauma therapy, where it's like, for me, talk therapy doesn't work because, as you probably have ascertained, like, I can psychoanalyze myself all day long and it doesn't land, right? I'm like, I know all the answers. Cry, cry, cry. I know all the answers. Lock myself in the closet.
Why are we locking ourselves in the closet?
Yeah, I know. I came out of that thing a long time ago.
They locked her there for 7 hours.
I know.
Haley, Kelsey, and Steve, they weren't the last ones to die in Cameron's life, because when she turned 15 years old, she had lost her father. Now, there are certain rules here on YouTube about what we can speak about, but he decided that and that's pretty much all we can say on that front. Dove Cameron.
So here's the rumor about her dad. Like, her dad was allegedly gay. And you know how it is in the 90s and stuff, coming out as gay to your parents. A lot of, shit has happened. So let me just, deep dive and stuff. Her dad did die at a young age, and now we're finding out how did he pass away.
Cameron claims that she has phone anxiety, and it makes sense because she had found out about her father's passing because a family friend encouraged her to contact her mom to get in contact with a family member, and at that time she just had this gut-wrenching feeling that this had happened. We'll talk a little bit about the hell that her father Phil had put her through, but she got this call and she learned that Phil is no longer with us. She says, I had a panic attack because it's the most out-of-control feeling you can have. Actually, all 3 of my big losses come through a phone call, which I guess is pretty standard, but I have major phone anxiety, which I would too. I remember whenever I used to get so unrelated, and I'm so sorry about her loss, but when I used to get cease and desist letters or lawsuit threats, I would always be looking at my phone. Every time I got an email, I would jump because I'd be scared that it'd be a new person trying to come after me.
Obviously something horrible happened when you were 8 years old. Your best friend was murdered by her father. Steve is gone and he took the girls with him, is what she said. Just very quick, and I think it was my mom on the phone, and I remember her decompressing, not knowing how to handle it, and then I think they heard me express some sort of child noise, whatever that was, a gasp, and then they came in and then we just didn't get out of bed for 2 days because it was so impossible to process. And 8 years old, why I wanted to ask you about that more is because I think that is so formative for everyone around you. But it's that's something that stays in your body, because I feel at that young of an age, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to trauma at young ages, not that exact trauma, but there's something as human beings where when it's that young, you probably don't talk about it that much at that young age, because what is mental health and how do you even speak about these things? So you internalize it in your body and then it sticks with you.
You could just hear the pain in Dove's voice, and
and stuff. People go through a lot with mental health and stuff. And I just wanted to do this video to tell every child star goes through a lot, but it's depending on how they handle it. Some people turn to but you woke up and said blue, bruh. LOL, but I get the magic and something. Thanks for the taps. Every child star goes through shit. Everybody goes through shit. It just depends on if the child star is willing to take therapy or they're just gonna go crazy.
Really, vulnerable for her not only to talk about this, but to share this story, because even though this is such a tragedy, her friend's death, her father's death, it is something that does happen to people. And you could tell that she's not fully okay. And it's okay, right? It's okay not to be okay, right? What song is that from? It's okay not to be okay. That one. Anyways, she says
Beautiful.
that
Thank
because she
you.
was so traumatized, she dove into work so hard at a young age and really didn't construct a community, a life, or anything outside of her job. She pretty much used theater and acting and singing as a means to escape what was going on in her real life. Actually, part of the reason that Dove changed her name to Dove Cameron from Chloe Hosterman was in honor of her father. He would call her Dove growing up, and that's where her stage name came from.
Like his final moments alone, where he was like,
Make sure you like and make sure you
Or
guys
not.
share this live, because this is a very, what I'm deep diving in is like a very, so I'm gonna say it, before the video ends, a major trigger warning and stuff. So I just want to say why the video is going through trigger warning.
even though, like what's that thought process like? Or like, did he think like if someone had called, it's that kind of thing where you're just like, it couldn't have been different, and what did that feel like for him, and did he know how loved he was? Did he feel loved? Was he mentally there?
Eat
Like,
your pizza, Chris.
dude, it's
I don't know what that is.
Your setup wants Opera GX, and you're holding it back. You never respected me. Watch. Upgrade to the gaming browser. Download Opera GX.
Now, there is some speculation online about where her last name came from. Some people say it's from Cameron Boyce's name. Now, granted, she would have changed her name like prior to him passing away, so it's kind of morbid that her stage name is based off of like two people that she had admired, like, but they're both dead. I mean, granted, her dad would call her Dove, and that's why she went by Dove, but the Cameron is from Cameron Boyce, who died in July 2019. Cameron actually passed away from sudden, unexpected death and epilepsy while sleeping at home in North Hollywood due to a seizure from his ongoing epilepsy condition. So at 20 years old, he had passed away. But yeah, I just wanted to note that because we were talking about where Dove came from, but I was curious to where Cameron came from, but she never really confirmed it was Cameron Boyce. She's just always been a really big fan of his.
you legally changed your name
Yeah.
from Chloe to Dove, and from what I can understand, you tell the story about the why and where did Dove come from?
My dad used to call me Dove as a nickname when I was a kid. Dovey and little stupid things like that. It was never like he would. When I was really young, I think it was more of a thing than when I got older. But it was something that always felt, like a me and him thing, like personal, sweet, intimate. And so I think when I got older, I just wanted to feel like even before he passed, I was wanting to feel that connection with him. I was wanting to feel like his daughter. I was wanting a piece of him. And so I did that in honor of him.
It's nice that Dove is able to look back on her father, Phil, and think of him in a nice way, even though he had put her through hell. And it's not completely Phil's fault. I mean, Phil had his own personal struggles. He had untreated bipolar disorder. I also believe he was closeted gay. But when he passed away, Dove was only 15 years old. She said that there was no way for her to wrap her head around it. She was working, she was trying to keep her mind busy, but at the same time, the grief was difficult to deal with, especially 6 years prior, your best friend was murdered.
And so for years, I would have this really irrational response to people recognizing me in public, which was this overwhelming panic, and almost like I would withdraw into myself, and I'd burst out in tears, and it didn't make any sense, and people were upset by it, and I didn't know how to control it. Because I just felt like my nervous system was just going off, alarm bells were ringing because I didn't know who these people were, but they knew who I was. And I've been able to tackle it since then, but for years it was something that I was petrified of.
How do you channel all that energy and emotion?
I think suppressing it, which was not the right thing to do, but I think it was the only thing I knew how to do at the time. So I was a really, really anxious person to be around for a long time, and I think that kind of manifested in a lot of people in watching me, not really knowing who I was, because I didn't really know who I was. And I was just attempting to hide and not feel so exposed and not feel so unsafe. And
This is the dark struggles, of Hollywood. And, I always wanted to be on Disney, but now coming to find out the struggles and stuff, and everything that's came out about Hollywood, Quiet on Set, P. Diddy. I mean, I could just do a whole deep dive on it, you know. So, I just really want to come and do this audio reaction for you guys. And y'all can check out some of my videos. I do music, I do content. You know, I'm not going to deal with Hollywood. I do YouTube acting and YouTube series and shows for Tubies and Netflix, but I don't think I would ever want to move to Hollywood. I don't know, I don't know.
If I just like patch myself up and keep going and get through the workday, and like, you know, I was working as much as I possibly could to avoid being home alone in my bed thinking about my life. I developed this weird like fear of an audience.
And at the same time, her father is gone, and there's not a lot of closure in her life as far as his treatment of her goes. Because he had this untreated bipolar, she was constantly walking on eggshells when she was around her dad. And it really set a weird precedent for Dove, because she started to expect these kind of behaviors in loving relationships. And even though she recognized her dad was different in that way, it definitely affected her.
What I was the most aware of was that my dad had really intense emotional swings. Like, I knew that. I knew how to be prepared for that. I truly don't think it was his fault. I think he was so traumatized and so repressed, and he had a really rough childhood and life and all of that. I think that he was doing his best with the tools that he had, and he didn't have enough tools. My dad really didn't like being challenged, and so we had a bit of a tenuous relationship as I got older. You know, I would come home and something would happen, and suddenly like all the VHS would be in the trash, and he'd be like, "You, no more nice things. You cannot have this. Like, you are being punished for this thing." And it was like, for what? The thing that I could not let go of in my 20s. If my dad could do those things, but I know he loved me. Can I believe someone who can do those things to me in a romantic relationship who then tells me they love me? And they almost went hand in hand for me.
Recently, Dove Cameron went on to the Call Her Daddy podcast, and she shared a story in detail about some of the abuse that she had gone through as a child at the hands of her father. There is no excuse for her father to be behaving this way, and it seems like he was a terrible husband and a terrible father, and had a lot of things going on in his mind. But ultimately, Dove is like the victim of his behavior.
I was woken up literally by like hitting the floor and hearing all these things, and so my brain was able to, like, through adrenaline process, like, I couldn't have done anything to cause this because I was asleep. He told me I could come down and be asleep. This is all happening in his brain. And so I, rather than leaving, I went upstairs to my room. I packed a little stupid bag of like any suitcase that I had, and I was like, whatever 12-year-old language I had that was the equivalent of like, actually, f*** you. And I went downstairs and I called my mom on my like $20 flip phone that I had because I went to theater camp and I had to I had to call them. I didn't have, you know. But I called her and I was out sitting on my suitcase, and my dad came and was like, "Wait, no, sorry. And I was like, "No."
So there's like the bipolar, like going back and forth, like raging on her to the point where your 12-year-old packs a bag and leaves the house. I mean, that to me is so embarrassing. Of course he came out and tried to like make amends.
Absolutely not. Like, I'm cool on this. I'm good on this. I'm not going to be talked to like that. I think I remember saying something to him that, like, I wish I didn't say, but was like, you know, like, we're blood, we're family, but, like, I didn't choose to love you.
As a
QuickMD connects patients with a doctor online for opioid use disorder. Start medication-assisted treatment backed by science. No judgment, no stigma, and no insurance is required. Take control and talk to a doctor today at quick.md.
Hey y'all, anybody that's in here, y'all think I should do a video about an update about the Kyle Matthews situation? Because I can tell you about I could do a whole deep dive, and, you know, and I would love to have the mom on here, you know, to talk about the situation and stuff, and, you know, and why she still supports, what's that weirdo's name at Nickelodeon? Dan Schneider guy, whatever his name is, weirdo, of course. You know, and I would love to have Tracy Brown. You know, we need to start talking about the industry. So, what do y'all think? You know.
How are you going to pitch the boss?
As I said
eating
earlier,
some
Dove also
Oreos,
reveals that
too.
her dad may have been gay. I mean, she believes that he was gay, and that's part of the reason why he had so much torment, because he didn't know how to come to terms with this. And she says that he had a really rough childhood. We don't know exactly what that entails, but if he was like a closeted man dealing with like all the things that like gay people had to deal with in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, then I can understand why he was, you know, just going through it.
Parents were not a love match. My dad was at the very least, not straight. They got married because they got pregnant. And it was like, my dad came from a Catholic family. and they had love for each other. Like, I see home videos from when I was little or before I was born, and like I think my dad truly loved my mom, just not as a husband and wife.
Like romantic, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think he ever fully accepted that about himself.
That's also got to really affect her too, like not having parents that are really in love. It just really, she has no setup or framework for how a family should be, especially when she was also raised in her friend Haley's home, and then Haley's dad ended up like, killing Haley. So it's just, she's got really bad examples to go off of.
And so they just had this sort of like, they both wanted something from each other that the other person couldn't give, right? And I knew that there was something off.
Like your whole life.
I think I would say right around 8. I would say right around that time. It's funny, someone called me out once for being like, damn, so much did happen to this girl when she was 8. And I was like, actually, yeah. Like, that was kind of the year.
So I think it's safe to say that Dove had a very toxic home life that set the stage for her future relationships. Let's actually talk about Ryan McCartan. He is Dove Cameron's ex-fiance. One person was writing on Reddit that they don't quite understand him. He seems very pretentious and pompous, and their relationship seemed bizarre.
Dove and Ryan meet around 2012 during the audition process of Liv and Maddie. Ryan told J14 that he had just gotten out of a really bad breakup and that they were shooting on set one night. Him and Dove just happened to be the last 2 people there. They walked out of the dressing room at the same time, and he said it was fate, and that he asked her if she wanted to go out, and she said, oh my god, sure.
Diggy is
on August 6th,
strange.
2013. Dove was 17 at the time, and Ryan was 20.
If y'all want to, I could do a whole deep dive on their relationship. If y'all want me to. So y'all gotta get ready to go clean up my room, and I gotta get ready for my next live stream at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock for TikTok.
And we are having a lot of fun with it, and it means a lot to us. And I think the people who work with us can see how much we mean to each other.
April 2016, Dove and Ryan announced that they are engaged on Instagram. Dove was 20 at the time, and Ryan was 22. 2 days after the engagement announcement, Dove does an interview with People magazine. Knew that Ryan always wanted to get married young. It's about how they always knew that they were going to get married, blah, blah, blah. She's never felt her age, and neither has Ryan. So it's like, okay, that they're young, because they're probably not going to get married for a while anyways, blah, blah, blah.
This headline reads that Dove Cameron detailed her 2-year dating sabbatical after her last scary relationship. Dove spoke about what she described as a pattern of unhealthy relationships. She suggested that some of her earlier romances felt like trauma bonds, and admitted that she often ignored the warning signs at times. Now, she's not naming names, but we all know who Dove is talking about. Ryan. After one breakup in particular, Dove said that she withdrew almost completely from dating and social life. She entered this sabbatical where she took a break from romance. She said, quote, there was a while where I was like, wow, I'm broken. I don't want anyone. Which it does seem like Dove Cameron has had like a interesting dating history. It's kind of like Taylor Swift. Dove said that things got so bad in her relationship, I'm assuming with Ryan, that her ex ultimately pushed her to walk away. That it got so bad that she started to document some of the situations just in case it were to escalate. Which kind of sounds like she was entering into a domestically violent situation. Dove has a song titled Too Much that she wrote about this past relationship and how this ex would always try to put her down, telling her that she talks too much. And things like that would just make Dove feel insecure. Here's a clip of her explaining this moment, and I'm assuming it's about Ryan.
This one was a romantic relationship that I was in for quite some time, and we were having a lovely night. Everybody was having so much fun, and everybody was laughing, and it was a bunch of my friends, and we got in the car, and I was like, wasn't that so lovely? Like, that was such a nice night. I love those people so much, and they liked you. And he was like, yeah, people really like you better when you talk less. And he like let that hang in the air, and I was like, and I was so jarred because whatever his interpretation of what had happened was so different than mine that it made me like paranoid. And that was just the beginning of what would end up being like a very long list of experiences that I had with this person that were like that, where it was like we would get in the car at the end of the day and he would give me notes on ways that I had behaved in public. And these were things that were not rare, they were constant. And you might ask yourself, like, how could you not have seen that and broken up with the person? I think when it starts slow and when you're young and when you're insecure, you don't register it as being a them thing. You register it as being a you thing, and then it chips away at your confidence over time until you're like scared to leave the person because you're like, oh wow, you're the only person who's ever gonna love me because I'm awful.
One person says that I heard Ryan used to go into fan group chats to complain about Dove. It's kind of an open secret that he's a giant a-hole. Apparently he was physically abusive towards her, and he alleged that she cheated on him.
Okay, now, he was young then, he was dumb. I mean, I think that Ryan McCartan is this way now Absolutely not. When you're just young and dumb, you'll say the most stupidest shit. Do I think the relationship he could have treated Dove better? Absolutely. But Dove trying to make it seem like she innocent. Because that's what some of these girls are doing in a relationship. And I know she came from a tumultuous past. I'm not trying to say he was completely out of line. But in relationships like this, just something's not adding up. Why isn't he telling his side of the story? What do y'all think about it in the comment section?
With her now ex-boyfriend. One person wrote that I didn't hear anything about the physical abuse, but I heard about the emotional and mental, which is interesting. I do wonder like what she ended up documenting about this Ryan guy. It'd be nice if there was like a warning outside, like out in the world, you know, so that
no,
like,
Sloan, don't you start that bullshit. Because they were young then. Maybe he has changed. Don't you even think about saying a warning sign, because people can mature over the years. This boy was probably 20, 22, 21. I mean, like, y'all just cannot just based on it. People can go to anger management. People can change, honestly. I'm saying if he's an R-word person, he's just a weirdo and do weird things and all of that, like Dan Schneider, no. But Ryan McCartan, like, don't be doing him like that. Because, you know,
this girl doesn't get trapped in the same kind of relationship with him.
Fan simply comments Ryan, and Dove replies with, was terrible to me. Other fan said, you look so much happier, and Dove said, I am. I don't know how legit these screenshots are, but supposedly Dove also liked these two tweets shortly after. I just lost an abusive relationship too. I am proud of you. Toxicity in a relationship isn't good, so please get out now. You deserve so much better. Talks about her relationship with Ryan in this interview. She said, it's my first ever real relationship, and it was on screen and off screen. A lot of what I went through in that first relationship, the very low lows, I did not make public. I was under the impression that I had to make everything look perfect all the time, and my partner definitely put that in my ear. People thought I was sharing loads, but I hardly shared anything. Literally.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44.
Literally out of the blue, Ryan does like this little Q&A thing on Instagram. Ask me anything, juicier the better. Ryan really said, let me be messy today. Somebody asks him, what's your proudest moment? Within 2 weeks, my fiance cheated on and left me. I almost died from food poisoning, and Donald Trump was elected president. I truly don't think I would be able to make it through that part of my life. I'm proudest of the light that came from the darkness. Within 2 weeks, my fiance cheated on and left me. Dove also liked 2 tweets. Yeah, I totally ignored that Ryan was with Dove because of the way he treated her, like she didn't matter. It put a lot of pressure on her. While announcing his new single, The Politician, Ryan included in his Instagram caption, as an adult, I was madly in love with a woman who mobilized a cult of personality so freely and effectively that I get regular death threats to this day. And she would cover the song Moral of the Story. She changed the lyrics from, you can think that you're in love, but you're really just in pain, to you can think that you're in love, but you're really just
why
engaged.
isn't he defending
and she
himself?
performed it like that for every single show.
Y'all.
When Dove and Ryan ended their engagement, it was messy because Ryan was accusing Dove of cheating on him. After Ryan accused Dove of cheating, he decided to walk back his stance a little bit by putting this statement on social media. I've elected to remain silent about my past because I thought it would be most effective to leave it where it belongs. I'm no longer comfortable watching the events of my life become so darkly misconstrued, he writes. I would like to fairly write about this once and finally. I think Dove and I fundamentally agree about our relationship with one another. We were young and mature. Our relationship was dysfunctional. We were a bad batch. She has made claims about me and about our past, and I don't think they're fair or even true. But she's entitled to her opinion. I've made claims about her and our past, and I'm sure she doesn't think that they're fair or true, but I'm entitled to my opinion. We have individual and conflicting perspectives on the dysfunction of our relationship. That is very normal amongst exes, which sounds like he's trying to like neutralize the situation, like we were immature, we were this, whenever he could have been violent. He continued by adding that he wishes Dove nothing but the best. I'm grateful for our relationship, he writes, that he learned what love is by learning what it isn't. People are allowed to be young and make mistakes. People are allowed to grow and grow apart. We are not at war with one another. This comes after Dove actually retweeted a photo with a message that says, when a toxic person can no longer control you, they will try to control how others see you. The misinformation will feel unfair, but stay above it, trusting that other people will eventually.
Okay, y'all have moved on. Go. You didn't get what you wanted in the first relationship, then you move on and you grow. You grow. Let's, like Rich Boy Troy, let's be cordial.
Just like you.
Filming on Descendants 2 has just begun. Who is in Descendants 2, you may ask?
See?
Dove Cameron.
See? How she already she claimed, okay, he did all of this, but you already moved on. If somebody goes, just put in the comments through a breakup, she already dating this Thomas Doherty guy during Descendants 2. I'm not.
Soon-to-be new boyfriend Thomas Doherty. Not sure on the date of this, but Deb
Sending
posted the
love,
selfie on
yo,
Instagram
bro.
where you
Sending
can
love,
clearly
but he
see
woke
her
up
engagement ring in the photo.
and said
After
the
about 5
blue
minutes, Deb
match,
deletes
the
that photo and
do-rag,
posted this one
the
instead,
Chicago
where the
Bulls
ring is
jersey.
not
Come on,
showing.
bro. Let
Maybe
me
Deb wanted
get
to break
your
up with him.
Magic
October 5th,
Hornets on
2016,
something. I don't know what that
Ryan
means.
announces that him and Deb are no longer together. Has decided that this relationship isn't what she wants. We still love each other very much. Please be sent us. This is painful. Notice his wording there. Deb has decided this relationship isn't what she wants. Very much blaming her, very much saying she broke up with me. Anyways, Deb confirms this news by tweeting, "Thank you for all the support and full hearts in this very intense and human time. There's a lot of love between Ryan and I. Life is beautiful and long." Just keep in mind that during this time, Deb was still filming Descendant. It's later that same month where fans start noticing and shipping Deb and Thomas. She posts a series of Snapchat stories hanging out with him. Also,
Like,
pretty sure that this
why?
is their live.
I just don't like edits on TikTok, period. Let's stop shipping people, because that's how people end up in tumultuous relationships. Y'all people need to stop showing. I see it a lot with Brooklyn Queen and Debo. People make edits out of people. Like, y'all need to stop doing it. Let people be who the fuck they want to be with. Stop shipping people. Stop doing that, because that's how toxic relationships happen. Like with Dove Cameron, Ryan McCartan. Like, y'all, Disney Channel, like TMZ, I could do a whole dive on them. Like, y'all need to stop doing that. Because that could probably be the whole reason why they spiraling out of control and shit. Like, stop fucking doing that. Like, that shit get on my nerves. I don't know. Put in the comments.
For December, Deb posted this selfie, and Ryan commented something very flirty. Seriously though, OMG babe, your hair is legit to die for. Like, wow, love, love, love it. Hashtag want it even more. TD, LOL. A couple weeks later, Deb posts this photo where Ryan is noticeably cropped out, and apparently that made headlines. A few days later, Deb takes a trip to London to visit Thomas. They are posting about this whole trip. This is a Snapchat Thomas took. And posts this photo on Twitter. Deb posts this. In this interview, she clarifies that her and Thomas did not start dating right away. I feel like when it comes to the timeline, she's kind of like, we're keeping it private. Like, girl, you just posted. At the moment her and Thomas met, it felt like the earth moved. 2 weeks after meeting on set, they got matching tattoos. Remember, Descendants started filming September 8th. Deb and Ryan did not announce their breakup until October 5th.
Not only was Ryan and Dove's relationship not a match, but they also were influenced by Hollywood because they worked on similar projects and producers wanted to put them together to try to push them out into the media and make their projects more successful. We've seen it time and time and again, like when movie leads will act like they're in a relationship to go and try to sell the project. Well, it seems like Dove and Ryan are also a victim of that as well.
I'm not saying any of this happened, but let's say someone was on a TV show a long time ago and ended up falling in love with and dating their romantic co-star who was the lead of the show. While these two people were exploring their love, one or some of the producers from the TV show that they were on when they met and started dating got involved in how or when it was announced that they were dating to boost ratings for the TV show. Some network executives saying it would be more beneficial for them to date their co-star from another they were starring in for the network because that would boost ratings for that project, and that's the one that the network is most interested in promoting at this time. The highly powerful and influential publicists got involved in almost every aspect of their relationship. Theoretically, if they had like a really public messy breakup, that elements of that breakup were handled by this publicity firm under threat of retaliation if certain statements weren't made at certain times. Major publications like magazines and online blogs would somehow get a tip this couple was thinking of taking their relationship to a new direction.
I'm telling you guys, as soon as the producers and the executives start getting involved in the talent's romantic relationships, everything just goes down the drain. But it is crazy how much Dove has gone through at such a young age, and there's actually some of her music I really love. There's one she came out with not that long ago.
My favorite was, what was your favorite Dove Cameron song of the child? Look at you, look at me, like we're both awakened. Cameron song growing up. Because that was my childhood. I love it.
Blasting it last summer, but it was really just that one. Otherwise, though, I do love Dove Cameron, and I think it's really cool that she's got so many layers to her story. It just sounds like she needs to take some time for herself and focus on herself and try to stay away from the Ryans of the world out there.
Ryan McCartan has shaded Dove Cameron after her unexpected engagement to Damiano David. The engagement news comes after Dove was seen in Sydney wearing a massive diamond ring while walking arm in arm with Damiano. Dove posted a sweet message earlier this month. In the message, she said, "The 2 best years of my life. I am brought to tears at least once a week because life has become so beautiful with you in it. I love you in a way no words could ever express, but I will never stop trying." The couple have often shared glimpses of their relationship online, and fans say they seem genuinely in love. During all this, Ryan has spoken out about Dove getting engaged to Damiano. Underneath a quote that said, "Bad people get what they deserve. Good people will be rewarded for their deeds." Ryan left a comment. In his comment, he wrote, "They do indeed."
People think it was shade towards Dove, especially since the timing lined up right after her engagement went public. I think Ryan knew exactly what he was doing with that comment, even if he didn't say her name directly.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this video about Dove Cameron. Comment below if you are a big fan of hers or if this is your first time ever hearing her name. But thank you for being...
So what do y'all think about this video? Comment in the comment section. You know, I'm not able to do it on my laptop, but I had to talk about this, you know, put my 2 cents in about this girl. So what y'all think? Make sure y'all like this video, this live stream, and subscribe.